Taurus, I've already laid your cards, so to see whether you want to stay or not. This is Taurus and Apple people. To see if you want to stay or not, what we're talking about here is something that's been ignited in your imagination. That's at the basis of the reading, that you don't know whether to trust or not. So that's interesting. And it's a very interesting ending. The part of you that's concerned with security is over worrying about it. And I think we can pull some cards to help unravel that. So if that feels like it's going to be something for you, or stick around until you know, then I'm going to dive in. So where you're at in the interior, Taurus, you're trying to take a very logical, clear-eyed view to everything. You really want to be utterly clear, totally pragmatic, and very logical, and you're sort of being offered a new start, or there is a new thought process that you're engaging with around that. How that makes you act on the outside is with the sort of incredibly stern attitude of the King of Swords, who is helping to direct your inner hermit. So the part of you that will always grope towards, it's a large theme, this, it's groping towards your true path and doing it with total reason and logic. And this character is groping through the night, which makes you feel very, very emotional. So you're trying to use this kind of incredibly romantic and very CEO type energy to assist the part of you that feels as if it's really on a huge quest to understand something, and you're foggy with it, but it feels super important. It feels as if you can get to this knowledge, then everything will be unlocked. And when it's unlocked, you can enter into a kind of cooperation with those things around you, but you have to do it on the right terms. At the basis of the reading, we have this lovely Page of Cups, and I think it's you wondering whether you've got some sort of idea that might be too fanciful. Something sparked in your imagination, a message of love and whimsy and a kind of new start. And it could just be a new business idea. It could be about somebody that's taken your fancy. But he's incredibly naive, and that's what's worrying you, or he's got elements of that. And you don't know whether to trust this. The lotuses on his cape, on his tunic, are standing out to me. And again, it's a stage card, which means that there's it's a sort of stage. Pamela Coleman Smith was a set designer, and so when she puts in these double lines, what it really means is there could be a scene's change at any time. This is a phase, is what I feel it means. He doesn't have much room to stand on. He's sort of quite constricted. We're focused in on him, like we've got if it was a camera, it would have come right in on him. That's how I'm seeing him. So I think this idea has really sort of grabbed your imagination, and now it's making you worry because you're not sure how valid it is. In the recent past, we've got a wonderful King of Wands who is probably indicating that this is some sort of entrepreneurial, creative idea that's really grabbed you, and he's sort of ignited something in you. You're probably very interested in creative processes, and your business or what you do as a hobby is highly creative. And so he's been talking to you in the past, which is probably feeding into this anxiety about, is this all just fire and air? So when we look at the two, the combination of it's fire and water. That's exactly the problem. What we're worried about is, will this be a kind of a dampener? Will your entrepreneurial spirit, which is so sort of incisive, will it be suffocated and dampened down like fire would be put out by this whimsy? I think that's what you're worried about. And as a potential outcome, we have the Judgment card. So it shows you having in a moment of epiphany, suddenly understanding what you want to do. I can see the three figures in the background, particularly the young child who's right in between those two figures in the background. And there's a real sense of joy, a release, and oh, thank goodness, I suddenly know what to do as those figures emerge from the coffin. It's as if you've been in a fog and suddenly it's very, very, very clear. Interestingly, as the counterpart to the King of Wands, we have the Queen of Wands coming up in your near future. So you're still in this highly creative, generative, explosive, fiery energy. And now you're digging deep into your intuition as well. This little cat at the base, what's interesting is, can you see how it's got a little bit of a few lines, as if the background, as if it's almost like a spectre, as if the background of her platform is bleeding through the body of the cat. It's as if your imagination is your intuition is flickering in and out, but you're informed by it. You've through the Hermit, I feel that you're really drilling down on how to make this work, but now you're using a slightly sort of magical side of yourself. Your attitude is one of really knuckling down to work. You're not afraid of it. I really admire this in people. These pentacles haven't got to the point of fruition yet. They're not ready for harvest yet, but this character is not giving up. Let's see what his face looks like today. He might be feeling frustrated. No, he looks all right. He understands the process here. He's just working on it. He will put that kind of hard work, the understanding that it can't all be the moment of initiation or ending. There has to be a lot of grind that goes into the middle bit. And that's a great attitude to have. In your environment, you're happy. This is a lovely phase of happiness within your community. I don't know whether this is your family or those that you've got around you. Again, this little dancing child is very, very obvious to me. I don't know whether you've got a really young child, whoever's watching, or whether there are grandchildren around, or whether there's just some sort of ignited, maybe it's this character, I think it probably is. I think he keeps coming in. This imaginative, youthful messaging from inside that's caught your fancy, I think is really jumping into all the other cards. So it's making you happy. Your hopes and fears are, you hope to get out of this moment of groping around for what the truth is of the situation into calmer waters. Again, if we look at that kid as being the page, you want the page there, but you want him with the other sides of your being that can help mould and tutor him in making this into sort of fully realised idea, whatever it is. Even if it's a love, you want all parts of yourself. I'm very aware of how he's got his feet on either one of these slats there. That's interesting. I don't normally see that. As if he's balancing, I can imagine him balancing backwards and forwards. I don't know if that resonates with anyone. But within this, as a hope and fear, you have a lot of knowledge in that boat. So even if it might have been quite annoying going through the process of trying to sort of grope to the knowledge, you have got that knowledge under your belt. And then in the outcome, we see you still worrying about security. It's as simple as that. I think you've bound yourself up on, can I really trust all this fiery energy informed by this kind of message of incredibly whimsical creativity? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to hurt my long-term security. So let's cap this for you. Let's start with, where are they? A card from the Enchanted Forest. See whether there's a part of the reading that it wants to focus on. Oh, so it did immediately. The Two of Cups. It's saying to me here, because this is two characters who are very different, and they are joined in a kind of amazing friendship. It's saying it's okay to have different parts of a project. It's all right for it not all to be from this very pentacly place or this very logical place. You can have fire with water. You can have both of these things, and they actually form quite a good union. How beautiful. Let's just double check if there's anything else that pops out in the book. Recognition of significant other, a new romance, kindred spirits, true friendship, sister or brotherhood. This may be a romance, a true friend of the heart, or even a spiritual awareness breaking through. Something that's been missing is about to be found. You will know when it without doubt when it appears. And these two women coming together. For too many years, they've walked a lonely path, each with an empty place at the centre of her being. Now they meet at the heart of the forest, their hands entwining, their eyes shining, in recognition of the other half of the soul. It's saying, don't be worried about new experiences. You're probably much more used to the pentacle feeling and the logical feeling. But if something... I mean, I'm sure you've got a lot of drive, but if something very whimsical comes across your path, maybe that's exactly what you've always needed, because this Two of Cups is it's a form of the Two of Cups. So it is saying that this watery element might have been what's missing. What have we got here? Again, the Four of Birds, which is like the Four of Swords. It's a period of rest and being given something from the universe. And then the Six of Trees. Oh, I love that one. These amazing trees. Let's read that. So this is Rachel Pollock's deck, and it's very dense, so we won't go too deeply in it because I want to keep the energy of the reading going. But I really recommend them because they're very beautiful. Right, Six of Trees. Confidence, optimism, sometimes arrogance, inspiring others, walking lightly over serious matters. That's like the Page of Cups' energy, lightly. So, the images background and below ground signify potential, knowledge and power. The three columns on the left symbolise balance, with green for life, mediating between the blue and the red. The large red triangle at the bottom, red for blood, outlined in gold, wisdom, indicates rebirth, while the smaller triangle pointing upwards leads to spiritual awareness brought down into the physical reality of our daily lives. The snake with its eggs and markings outside its body symbolises new life, for snakes grow by shedding their old skins. It's kind of encouraging you to shed your old skin, to let go and let this to happen. And its jaunty and cartoon-like image it starts with is basically optimism. So it's asking you to remain optimistic, just as this character would. Maybe trust him a little bit. The woman walks through the forest of strange tree spirits. Below her feet we see the forms and symbols of the underworld, and yet she takes no notice, feels no fear. Her supreme confidence carries her forward. The beast of the previous card follows her like a pet. That's so interesting. The strangeness and mystery of life have become her friends. I think that's what this is about. On one level, the card indicates the state we sometimes experience when supreme confidence seems to tame all the dangers of life and everything goes right for the person. The way we say of such people, he leads a charmed life. So it's almost encouraging you to follow that spirit. The markings on the trees actually follow decorations of a series of bones, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think that's saying you can trust this whimsy, you can trust this youthful spirit. And with the other card, which was the Four of Birds, I'll just read you the little meaning. Rest, withdrawal for the purpose of healing, discoveries and knowledge when we least expect them, realising that we might get what we want by doing nothing rather than trying to conquer. In romance, the patience to allow a lover to come to us. So that's a very receptive energy, isn't it? Whereas we've got the King and Queen of Wands and then the sort of King of Swords and the Ace of Swords. So it's sort of saying allow the receptive part of you to come into play, because that you can trust. Sometimes things go right. How wonderful. Now, this is a pack of cards. I have a lot next door, and because I'm excited to suddenly have access to them again, I've just picked up one randomly, and really funnily in the last reading, because they're female-based, the first image was for menstruation. So I was like, a bit like, oh, I don't know whether I can show you that picture. Here we've got the waning gibbous moon. So I don't have the book with me, so I'm just going to look at this. It looks like a woman who's looking at almost something that comes from nature that she's speaking to, because there's a little flower that comes out of her mouth. and there's a bird above her head. She's in the act of meditation and receiving some sort of wisdom from the nature world, nature spirits. That's how I see it. And so maybe that's something to do with the idea of the Page of Cups. Maybe that's something that you have been inspired by. I don't know. Let's have a few little cards from the Waite Tarot, the small ones, to see if there's anything else it wants to say. So absence, delay and separation. What do you mean by that, please? In what respect? What do you want us to look at in this reading? Maybe it's talking about that. It's just saying, you know, you're going to have to work on it, which we know from your attitude. So yes, you might be beguiled, but there might be a little pause as you put the work in. So let's not get too excited, it's saying. Let's be realistic. But then it says, and then there'll be a celebration. So after the Three of Swords, we now have the Three of Cups. So put the work in, bring logic to the heart, which is the advice of the Three of Swords. So the combination, really, what we're talking about is the combination of your logic with your beguiling Page of Cups. So we know you have a lot of logic, but we also know that you have your Page of excited imagination cups. So if you can bring logic to that beautiful page and put in the work, then you get to celebrate. That's when things start to bear fruit for you. That's lovely. And just a quick comment on the King of Pentacles and your worry at the end about your ability to generate wealth to support you. Well, we have the Chariot. It's saying this could be a mythic quest for you. The combination of these two energies. When we see the Chariot, we're talking about a laser beam being split. And it's saying this combination, the black and the white sphinxes, the split laser beam, it is actually nothing to worry about. It could be the thing that takes you fast and furious and hold on for dear life into a really amazing life mission. So don't worry about it. See you soon.